Hey everyone, today I'm going to review and explain how I tweak someone's competition build. So one of our Town Star community members called UltimateAcid sent me over his fabric box build after the January NFT reward competition ended so that I can talk about it and give him some advice. So I already properly looked over his build and made some tweaks which I will show and explain in these other stages that I made. I am using the Town Guide Visualizer. There's a link to the site in the description of the video. It's a super good tool to plan out a build. Okay, so first let me explain what UltimateAcid told me about this build. He was doing 86 fabric blocks per hour. He has a full set of Miranda skins, enchanted ornaments, and fireworks. In this build, he is utilizing the Express Depot and a Sphere of Hope. I'm assuming he has some of the ghost cards as well, but I did not clarify that. It looks like he chose a forest with One River Edge. So I really do like how he has all his tree farms and sheep pens right here, close to the river edge. I'm sure I see that they're all getting water. He also has all his meadows right here, not too far, and he utilized a trough, so that way when a sheep accidentally got too much feed, instead of going to a road to spit it out and get rid of it, it's actually going to put it back in the trough for another sheep to consume. There are quite a couple of things I do not like about this build, but I will explain them and show how I tweak them. So he has a good amount of fabric plants, but he has them all crafting things in different spots, which I don't really think is very efficient. So I see that he has a silo here, so it would make sense if he had most of his fabric plants that are crafting cotton yarn near it, but he has them all spread out. Like he even has one over here crafting cotton yarn, so that one would have to walk this full distance to get a cotton and then go back. He has two storehouses, which I suppose, since he has the fabric plants crafting wool yarn in different spots as well, although realistically you do not need two storages. And I believe he has too many farm tractors and ATVs, but the main reason for that is probably because the farm tractors are way too far away from the cotton, so they would have to travel a long distance just to get the cotton and then a long distance just to put it in the silo. Same thing with the ATVs, they would have to travel a long distance just to get to the sheep pens and then have to travel somewhat far to get to the storehouse. I feel like that's wasting too much precious time. He did use crude oil pumps since he doesn't have passive oil, which is completely fine. He has his fuel storage next to the refinery crafting petroleum, that's okay. Forklift nearby. His forklift may occasionally gather clay lumps, and those clay lumps would go to the storehouse, which is a little inconvenient, but as long as he's auto selling them, if that happens, it's all right. If the forklift isn't grabbing the clay lumps, then the pottery shops will be grabbing it, of course. So the Sphere of Hope is helping him out because it negates the dirty effects from the fabric plants. So normally these fabric plants would be negatively impacting these, but that's not happening since he has a Sphere of Hope placed. He also has the Haunted Maze Zone 4 for the one passive nectar right here, so that does help out a little bit. And I do like the way he has all his loggers up here, because those can be far and it won't impact your build so long as they're always working over here to gather wood and taking it to the lumber mills. He has 5 lumber mills making lumber, that seems like a good amount. 3 lumber mills making wooden boxes. So another thing I don't like is I believe he has way too many nuclear power plants. He has 6 of them, and he does not actually need that many. So I'm gonna go ahead and move on to my first tweak, which would be the nuclear power plants. I would get rid of this nuclear power plant since it's completely unnecessary. He would still have enough passive energy for everything nearby. Especially since the fabric plants that craft uniforms, they only actually need 1 energy for this meta since it was tweaked. And he had two nuclear power plants here and here, so I would have gotten rid of those and actually built one here. That would give him enough passive energy to supply everything right here. This fabric box one would not need energy. Crafting fabric boxes does not consume energy, so that one would still work. And those tweaks alone save 6 spots, but they also save a lot of time since you do not have to wait for the cash and the materials for 2 more nuclear power plants. So that's a simple tweak right there. Moving on to the second tweak, I would say, so in this one, I do organize the fabric plants. Right here, I have all the cotton yarn fabric plants right next to the silo, so they don't have to walk as far. The fabric plants crafting wool yarn are next to the storehouse. I eliminate the other storehouse since I would prefer for them to all go here. The fabric plants crafting uniforms are between the ones crafting wool yarn and the cotton yarn, so they don't have to walk that far of a distance. They just have to go to the closest warehouse where the yarn is at. Okay, so I also have the fabric plants crafting fabric boxes up here. These do not need energy, so they can be placed up here, and they just have to go to the closest warehouse to collect the uniforms and the wooden box. I do move the ATVs a little closer. I move them over here, getting rid of one of them since they're closer, since you won't need that many. And same thing with the farm tractors. I move them over here, getting rid of one of them since he won't need that many. He might not even need 3. But that's just some simple adjustments on that tweak, and that ends up clearing a total of 10 spots right there. So my next tweak is my complete full tweak, how I would really redesign this build to improve it as much as possible. So you're gonna see a big improvement. So this is my fully redesigned tweak for your setup. You see the trees are basically the same. I might move one around. I do have the pond shifted over here to have 3 sheep pens. In total, I have a few more meadows right here. The cotton gets moved over here, so it's closer, and the silo gets moved right here. There's no shade hitting these, so the farmer is able to quickly collect them. Now the farmer is right here. The farmer just has to travel a small distance and then go to the silo, and it's really fast. So that silo is going to have all the cotton for all the fabric plants crafting cotton yarn, which have been moved to this section. Now the ATVs, I would have them parked right here, 2 ATVs. They'll either go here for these 3 or they'll travel through this road. So it's not as close as I would like them to be, but it is closer than what you had them at originally. And they only have to travel to this storehouse right here to deposit wool. And I would have all the fabric plants here crafting wool yarn, so they only have to walk a short distance. I would have some lumber mills here crafting lumber. That way the lumberjacks are real close to these, so they're able to get there faster. Lumberyard right here to deposit that lumber so that it can be used by all of these fabric plants. I do move the express depot. He had it somewhere over here, so I end up moving it in this corner. Warehouse right here to put all the wool yarn and cotton yarn at, and for it to be quickly picked up by the fabric plants crafting uniforms. Another one right here, so 2 warehouses right there. Then there's another warehouse right here to deposit uniforms, and for the fabric plants crafting fabric boxes to quickly pick up the uniforms and then go pick up the wooden boxes. So the wooden boxes would probably be over here, as I have 4 lumber mills crafting wooden boxes. Now over here I do have 3 more lumber mills crafting lumber because I needed another spot to put them at. And I have another lumber yard right here so they can quickly deposit that lumber. So I move around the oil pumps a little bit, so they're up here. 4 of them, forklift, just goes here, deposits them at the fuel storage. The forklift may also go and pick up clay lumps if necessary. All the loggers remain up here, just shifted a little bit. There is 2 more loggers right here as well, just to make use of these spots. There are 6 pottery shops, so I did add 1 more pottery shop because I suppose this build should have a higher rate and might actually need more of it. And I also added another beehive for a higher wax rate as well. I believe with this nectar and the Haunted Maze Zone 4, it should be just enough nectar to supply all the nectar you need for that wax. 2 clay lumps right here. They have the 3 passive water that they need from this pond and this pond. And there are all these sheep pens and trees. They all have the passive water. Did not know what to do with these 2 spots, so I just put meadows. The nuclear power plant that was originally over here, I did move it over here. I felt like this was a better setup because the pottery shop would be closer to the clay lumps. It might really not have mattered that much, but that is something I did. I had the beekeepers over here closer to the beehives and pretty close to the warehouse for pottery ceramic bowls. They would still have to walk quite a distance for the lumber, but that's okay. And even if he needed to, he could have, I would have added 1 more beekeeper house if I saw an issue with only having 2 beekeepers. So I'm trying to think of any other tweaks I would have made, but I think that's it. I really believe that this build, compared to his original build, this build will probably perform, I would say definitely perform better. Probably could have pushed his rate over 100, maybe 110, 120 per hour. I still don't believe it would have pushed him into the top 200 since people were making over 140 per hour at that leaderboard ranking. But this is the way I would have improved the build. So hopefully, UltimateAcid, I gave you some good advice on how to tweak your future builds for future competitions. Anybody else watching, I really hope that you learned something out of me explaining how to tweak his build so that he can improve. So hopefully everybody else can learn and improve from it. That's all I have for this video. So I would appreciate it if you would leave a like on the video. Leave a comment if you have any feedback or questions, and feel free to subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. I appreciate all your support and I thank you for watching.